Humberly González, great to see you. Doing it a bit different this time.
I know.
We're in person.
There's no screens.
There's no screens for what?
We can literally high five in the middle of it. Nice.
We did that. Virtual friends for many years. I just realized, because we were talking about this, this is technically the 7th interview you have done for the brand.
You counted?
Because we did 5, and then we did the Instagram Live for your Hallmark Christmas movie.
Yes.
So I'm definitely counting that.
Yes.
So, like, yeah. So
lucky number 7.
This is number 7, which is crazy. Congratulations, The Waterfront. Dropped worldwide on Netflix recently. Already number 1 in a lot of countries. I mean, it's funny, too, because you've recently traveled and you've worked in other countries as well. When you get to kind of, like, is that when you really kind of see the global kind of impact that content has, specific with Netflix, where it's like, I've just realized, like, you were in Greece recently, and it's like one of those things, too, where it's like, across all these different time zones, the show dropped at a certain time, right?
I know. It's really fun to think about that no matter where you are in the world, they're going to have the experience, but, like, in their time zone, in their language. I mean, people are tagging me in el frente costero, like, whatever it is in Spanish, and it's, like, me dubbed in Spanish. It's amazing. It's so cool.
It's so good. I do like the fact that you have worked on projects that are a lot of things. They're not just one thing. Waterfront is like the perfect example of what we're talking about, right? Because it's got the crime, it's got the family, it's got the drama. There was a watch party recently. There was a lot of...
So much gasping. I feel like people need to make sure, like, you're going to breathe a lot. There's going to be a lot of, like, no.
There was a lot of, like, gasping.
Yes.
And people didn't know what was going on.
There's a twist, like, every...
You and I might or might not have known what was going on. So we had to, like, pretend.
I know, we did. But it's really nice to pretend. It's like, when you reset doing a scene, you're like, okay, we're going again. I'm like, you got it, and this will be different.
I think the best part was, like, there was a few things we knew, like, a big scene was coming, and we were just looking at each other. And like, all right,
this is a good scene coming up, guys. This is a good scene coming up.
Absolutely. Shot this in Wilmington.
Mm-hmm.
You were there for quite some time.
Yeah.
What is that experience like for you, being somewhere, like, you've never been there before? Mm-hmm. So it's like, it becomes home for a little bit because you're so immersed, right? Because, like, knowing, like, we've talked about it before, you get really kind of immersed in your work and the culture and everything. So what was that experience like for you?
It did feel like home, so much so that I made local friends, and they're all like, we can't wait for you to be back. All of the restaurants, the routes that you take, the coolest part about it was that anytime I wrapped early, I could actually just go to the beach right after. Yeah. And it's such a different lifestyle from shooting in Canada or shooting in Europe. But Wilmington is so special. There was a piece about it that I felt really at home instantly. And, we're manifesting season 2 because I'd love to be back, specifically with that group of people. We just really made it so much fun. We gelled so fast. But yeah, it's always really hard to leave it. I feel like as an actor, I've been doing this for quite some time now, and there's such a transition in and out of places and people. No one really prepares you for that.
No.
Because they're like mini heartbreaks, and you miss people and you miss places, and you know that moment will never be the same ever again. But that's why I always try to cherish it and appreciate it right when I'm experiencing it. And they're just really beautiful memories now.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin Williamson.
Kevin!
I mean, what else is there to say? And it's cool because you and I just, like, love horror movies.
Yes.
And obviously an iconic kind of figure in that space. Mm-hmm. Different, like, not a horror movie with the Waterfront. Some moments, I mean, the sharks.
Thrilling moments.
The sharks is like, that was yesterday. And everything's going back to the aqua party.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's still those elements of, like, suspense.
Yep.
And, the air gets taken out. Yep. And you're wondering what's going to happen. So I think he knows how to build those moments. And yes, it's a different genre, but it's still got his stamp all over it,
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be, it's tricky because when you audition, that's a whole kind of journey itself, and you're preparing for that, and then you book the role, and you're going to go to Wilmington and film, The Waterfront on Netflix. There's obviously things that you want to think about, and there's things that you don't really think about. What are the things you're thinking about in regards to, like, when you're about to go film it? Because it's, like, an interesting thing, because you're going to, like you said, you're going to meet the locals, you're going to meet everyone, you're going to work with people you haven't worked before. Like, but what are you, like, thinking about, like, a week before going there?
I wish I could tell you that I had a week to think about this. I booked it on a Tuesday. By Sunday, I was already there. And I was on set every day because that was my final week of filming season 3 of Ginny and Georgia. I was on set Monday through Friday, long days. I couldn't even pack. I couldn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Because I had to focus on the task at hand. I was being Victor and we were shooting Moose, and it was like a whole other thing. But what's amazing is knowing that even though this was the end of season 3, and it's always very bittersweet when you're ending a season and not knowing if I'm going to be back or not. For me, it was saying kind of like a goodbye, and it was a graduation to the next thing. But it felt great to know that I had a job lined up.
No.
It's my first US job, so I was nervous. I didn't know what this endeavor would be, and everybody else is American. They've done this before. They've lived there. For me, it's like I've never spent this long in the US or anywhere on a show for this amount of time. So knowing that it's like 4 months of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like a project like that one specifically is like interesting in terms of the big scale as like vibes of it hit you twice, right? Because when you're there, like you said, there were some sets that were built.
Yes.
It just looks big, the water and everything.
Yeah.
But then like when you watch it, like you did like with your friends and everything, like it's just an experience and feels big scale, right? But it's interesting to think about because there's a lot of things that you film it, and then a lot of effects come in afterwards. Yeah. But it's like, this must have felt like really big scale while you were like filming it.
It really is what it is. Like, especially, when you look at the scenes like on the water, and they're just literally open ocean. On the beach, it's just sand, and you're working with the elements, the wind, the sunsets, everything. But it felt so integrated, truly, like you are there.
Yeah.
Even though we built sets, it still felt like you were inside of the restaurant, or like it just felt so real. It didn't feel like we were even in a set. But yeah, the show did really well at immersing us in the world for sure.
Waterfront. You're back on Ginny and Georgia.
Yes.
Which is just a show that gets people talking all the time. I mean,
I didn't know the show was going to be this big. I mean, in 2019, that's like 6 years ago when I booked it and we filmed it. I had no idea what this was going to turn into, and that it was going to be such an explosive show, not just, in content and the script and everything, but like for each of the actors, I think it changed a lot of the actors' lives in the way that they were just thrown into the world.
Yeah.
And it really did open a lot of doors for me in the sense that there were more eyes on me so they could see the work.
Yep.
And it led to so many other opportunities. So
absolutely. And there's also just some tarot cards that we're going to get.
Some tarot cards in there. I don't know. Ended up in Europe at some point.
Cool things you got to do this season, though, with your character is there was a musical. There's a play.
Yeah.
And I love that whole scene. And again, we talked about it. That whole, Maxine crash out, they're calling it. It's just like taking over TikTok right now. Yeah. Can you tell me about that? Like, was that kind of different for season 3? Because that was like, you're like preparing for like a play. Like within a show.
It was like a show within a show within a show.
Yeah.
And it was so cool because, I mean, that's my thing. I'm like a triple threat. I started in musical theater. I love singing. I love dancing. We had dance rehearsals. I got to be in the studio recording music. So that I was thriving. That was a really, really fun week to get to like do all of that and then actually perform it. And the day when we have to film the show, like we're doing it over and over again. We're like in these outfits there all day watching each other. And honestly, it doesn't get tiring. Every time everybody sang their songs, it was just like, oh, they're so great. Everyone's so talented.
And that was like your last couple of days, right? Like
it
you wrapped on that. Because I remember like seeing something where I texted you about something that you were like, doing a play.
I'm doing a play for a TV show. Yeah, it was literally the last week of work, and I got wrapped dressed as a man.
No, for sure. And it's interesting too because I feel like it depends on the project, but we talk about this a lot. We love the conversations that happen among creatives, right? That like get to what we see on screen because everything we see on screen, like, even that line in the Waterfront, I took a gummy, like there's obviously like conversations that were happening without you involved with that, with like the writers that got there. You're having conversations with people. When do you like to have those conversations? Because like when you're filming, you're in the zone, right? But do you sometimes love having those like on set creative kind of conversations? A lot of those happened before, but like when do those conversations happen for you?
Yeah, I feel like even specific, actually with most projects, they happen in the moment a lot. We, for the Waterfront, I did read all the scripts because that's kind of a different thing for me. For Ginny and Georgia, I'm notorious for not reading anything because I like to be surprised when watching.
I've heard a lot of people say that, actually.
And it's just fun. It's fun to not know and to have the experience with the audience. But for the Waterfront, I definitely read everything I think I needed to know, like where everything fit in. I wanted to know specifically where Kevin Buckley was at mentally for when we met up. So, even though Jenna might not know, like as an actor, for me, I'm like, it just requires a bit more attentiveness and detailing. But everyone was so open with, even just the commentary on takes. We had incredible directors. The majority of them were female, with the exception of Marco Siega, who's incredible. He did the first couple episodes, but everyone was very hands-on. And I got some of the best direction I've ever gotten and I learned a lot. I learned a lot on the Waterfront. I felt like it was definitely a more seasoned and mature cast with really layered, specific work that I haven't always gotten the chance to do because, I think when you do like a deep drama, there's like so many more, like it's just infused with so much. And I was like, oh, it's such a playground for me as an actor. I'm like, all of these years of doing what I've done to finally be able to showcase that. It was like, okay, it was challenging and really fun.
So I have a yes, no, or maybe question.
Okay.
And then it leads to a bigger question. And because I find it very interesting. Your character in the Waterfront, Jenna, is she lost? Because I have thoughts we were going to talk about. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
I'm going to say yes. I'm leaning towards yes.
Because you could say that she's not, that she does know what she really wants.
I know. I think, okay, what if it's this like subconscious, conscious thing where...
I love your pause, by the way, when I asked that question. That was the best.
It's true. Pregnant pause. I think you're right. There is a lot of her that knows what she wants because she talks about the things that are not working. When someone talks about what isn't working, there's an awareness. And so maybe I'll change it. Maybe she's not lost. She's grieving.
Is it more fun or challenging to play lost characters doing self-reflection? Because from the viewer perspective, they don't know they're lost. They don't know what's going on. They're just being them. And we're watching these, characters doing soul searching. But from a storytelling perspective, like, how do you kind of think about that? Like, is it more fun? Is it harder?
I love to add more challenge, like as much as possible. And something that kept coming up from our directors and our producers was Jenna is not a bad person.
No.
She is not trying to purposely hurt or be malicious.
The trailer might make it.
Listen. I think she is someone who is grieving, and that is what's fun, is that at any point she knows what she needs to do and she knows the boundaries. Yep. And she goes, I'm not a bad person, so I'm not going to go there. That's a bad choice.
Yes.
However, there's humanness, temptation, grieving, vulnerability that at any point I think she's constantly going back and forth because this pull to this person is so strong. She can only fight so much, and it's so human to at any moment be like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And you never know what's going to come out. And I was constantly battling that with every line said.
Yeah.
She either softens or hardens. It's like, that was too flirty, take it back. And then she leans in and no, I got to reel it back in. So there was a lot of back and forth, which was very challenging, but yes, fun.
We love going in fresh for things. We saw a movie recently. We didn't know much about it. And we were just kind of like, it was the best thing ever. Just see what happened. I know, it's people want to know what to expect, but I love just not knowing what to expect.
Just like not reading the scripts. Because this is the thing. That's how I live my life. I'm like, there's so much unknown in life.
Yeah.
That is exciting. There's some people that will lose their mind because we want control as human beings. There's something so liberating about surrendering to the unknown, and not knowing means that I get to have just an instant reaction when I do know rather than planning it. Because sometimes that isn't the best.
Yeah.
It's like if you're planning something, you're depriving yourself of the element of surprise and curiosity and like instant gratification in that way that it's, I don't know. I like it. I like not knowing anything.
Yeah.
Throw me in.
An Humberly González interview is always a hard interview because you have so many projects to talk about. So you're going to be like, I'm sorry. And we're going to be like, yeah, you should be.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what angle to go with.
Fair.
It's different worlds, different characters. It's all storytelling. It will always be storytelling. Do you love the ability to potentially bring back things from past characters or past journeys to new projects, even though they're very different?
Yeah, and I think it happens naturally too. There's certain roles that I miss all the time. You know, I think of Brooklyn too from Utopia Falls.
That was the first interview we did. There's a little Killer High in there, but that was the first one we ever did. Utopia Falls for Hulu. That was the big one.
That character really made such an impact in my life. You know, I got to sing, I got to dance. It was like my first, like, you know, I was in all of the episodes, and it just really, it allowed me to dream about the kind of projects I wanted to do. And I feel like there's been so many characters that I've brought Brooklyn into.
Yeah.
Whether that's in her skill set or what she stands for.
Mm-hmm.
But Brooklyn was so, like, she had so many colors, and she went through a really beautiful journey that I often miss. I always wish that show went forward. It was just like bad timing, but such a great story. I'm always like, R.T. Thorne, bring it back. I don't know how, but do it. Yeah.
You really love horror movies, but you also love the ability to kind of go into that world and be part of that world from a storytelling perspective. You were in Taro. There was something you shot in South Africa that, you know, we might or might not, we could talk a little bit about. I don't know. But I mean, that's the genre I feel like right now that's getting everyone excited. And I talked to a few people at your watch party yesterday that they understand it. Like, even though they can't watch them.
No, so many of my friends are like, we can't.
No, but they can't, but they understand it. And I feel like this is interesting. I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot because, you know me, I always think about horror movies, right? I think the fact that like people are understanding the hype and what they're for is making them less scary for people that get scared about them.
I know.
Isn't that interesting to think about?
Because you have to think about the vehicle with which you're telling the story.
Like, there were some people that like did not want to watch Adjoining. They watched it and
they're like, oh,
they were freaked out. They said, "Thank you for the nightmares, Pete. I appreciate it." But yeah, like they understood it, and they usually don't watch horror movies. Now mine's 11 minutes, so the stress is not as much.
An hour and a half of being at the edge of your seat. What do you mean? It's not relaxing.
But it's interesting to think about. Like, that genre is the genre right now.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's just fun to play in it. Like, you can talk about so many hard topics without it being thrown in your face and with drama, which can be really intense too. I think with like comedy and horror, like there's this element of surprise again that, you know, it makes you feel a lot. And I think that's why I love watching scary movies. I'm always like, can you scare me? Mm-hmm. Are you going? And I also think that cinematography can be so
It's cinematography. The DP. It's just beautiful. The DPs are like, even the shout out to the Waterfront.
Yeah.
Because that show is just, you just look at it.
It's visually stunning.
Yeah.
The light coming in, there's mist and like all of the things.
Cinematography is just, that, and shout out to our cinematography on Adjoining, Andy Chen, because that was like something that people were like consistently saying about the movie. Yeah. Like, who filmed, like, who was your DP? Like, that was like brought up. You know, when it's brought up like 30 times,
and then you're like,
there must be.
Yeah, looks great. Yeah.
You were one of the first people to like ever watch that movie.
I remember when I watched it, I always get to watch all of the top secret things. And I know all the secrets first before the world knows.
It was good because it was like, you know, we just seeing your reaction on Zoom was like the best thing ever. You're like, what is going on? That's always a stressful week because I picked a few people that I wanted to watch it that like weren't really part of the process at all. You were one of them. And it was about 4 or 5. And that's like the first time you're like, it's like out of your hands.
Yes.
So like
you have to let it go because you're like, you know, even if it's in your mind the best thing ever, there's always going to be people who are going to see so many different things than you do.
Yep.
That's the beauty of what we do, right?
Absolutely. Ginny and Georgia, we're going to get back to that because there's some important things we need to discuss. But before that, It's really cool because we get, the heads up from social media. We'll talk a little bit about when something is announced, like when Waterfront finally got a release date.
Yeah.
The announcement that it was coming out that certain day and there was first look photos, that becomes an event of like in itself. And the show's not even out yet, right? It becomes like a celebration, like announcing. Because when I used to go to like concerts a lot, the announcement of a tour, like when your favorite band was coming to town, like when Sum 41 or Green Day was coming to town, the announcement that they were coming to town in 3 months, that was like an event.
It's a huge thing because it allows you to be like, oh, something to look forward to.
But it's like, do you notice that? Like, especially, well, I'm sure with Star Wars, because the announcement of Star Wars all those when people are able to pre-order, that's its own like festival.
It was wild.
Yeah. But it's interesting, right? Like the announcement, it's its own like event or project.
Because it's real and it's coming.
Yeah.
It's like inevitable now.
Yeah.
And people can actually, it's solid. It's like, okay, this is really happening. Because you never know. Some things fall through. Like there's been times where people shoot projects and they never see the light of day.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying.
Absolutely. So I know this is going to be coming out soon, this interview, but it will be coming out before July. So we could actually, I didn't tell you I was doing this, but we could actually announce something, right? I think we can announce something.
Nice, yes.
I think you know where I'm going with this. Can you imagine if you don't know where I'm going with this? Okay, so you will be one of our featured, our cover features for Pop Alternative Magazine for July.
Yes.
And we did an amazing shoot with Mike from Cocreate Space. We are in the studio right now, absolutely. And we're so happy to have you for that.
Yes. I love those photos too. Shout out to Mike. One of the photos from that shoot also made it as the Hollywood Reporter Top 40 Women in Entertainment. And it was the coolest announcement ever. And yeah, that photo shoot was kind of impromptu. It was like a day before I left to London for the BAFTAs.
Yep.
It was the way that I also revealed my new haircut.
Yeah. There was a lot going on.
There's a lot going on that day. I was like, I'm just feeling like this is like a new chapter, a new version of me. Yeah, very excited to be on the cover.
Yeah, so it's like this is going to be out maybe like end of June, and then like the week after the cover will be out. No, it's super exciting. Have you had a chance to chat about who you think the dad is for Ginny and Georgia? Because I feel like everyone's thinking about it all the time. I just talked to Sarah Lampert about it. She told me that she knows who the father is, and of course you do.
Of course.
But I really we don't have to go into prediction, it's fine, but it's like that is something like that show just kind of like that's literally what everyone's thinking about now. If you think about that.
I know. We'll see.
Yeah. Do you think that was, I mean, credit to Scott Porter because he's a great actor, but that must have been very difficult, that storyline for him.
I know.
Being like very liked and now like boop. Like,
and then it just went to, I know. I mean, everyone's like struggling. I think the season was a really, really strong season. It's why people are like, they keep saying this was the best season. And then another season comes out and they're like, this was the best season, which is so rare for new seasons of show to up their game. I mean,
the last two cliffhangers too. Georgia gets arrested.
Yeah.
Georgia's pregnant.
Like, what is going on?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It is so crazy. What do you like the most about the, like, so we're talking a lot about the on-camera component of it, but there's a lot of off-camera component of it, and the on-camera component also is like auditioning and everything. But there is this kind of part of the job, doing press, like doing photo shoots, things like they're not actually like filming something. Like, what's your favorite thing about the off-set kind of component of being a storyteller?
Interviews, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's something that, I feel like I'm really good at it, and it's not something that I was necessarily trained.
You've asked you to come back on. You've been on the show 7 times. Of course you're good at it.
But, when you do like a press tour, for example, like for Star Wars, that was the most intense time last summer because you're back to back and you're doing huge festivals and Comic-Con and panels and all of that. But it's such a well-oiled machine for me now. There's this calmness and confidence and playfulness that comes out. You have to know how to be concise and give good sound bites and not kind of get lost in your thought. And it's such a skill, but it's really fun because I don't really plan for it. you just kind of throw yourself into it and you hope for the best. But I feel like my brain has gotten used to what it means to just be like, let's see what happens. It's kind of like doing a scene and you don't, for the first time and you're like, oh, let's see what we find. But I love doing interviews.
Yeah.
It's always really fun. Yeah.
Absolutely. I just feel like I think about tarot a lot because I just saw, 20 years later, Sony horror movies and everything. I want to talk more about when you get this opportunity to, go to other countries and work, right? So like South Africa, right? So like, and I don't know what you're allowed to say, what you can. That's why I didn't ask.
I can. Yeah, I actually talked to my director, Danishka Esterhazy, shout out. She also directed me in Ginny and Georgia, incredible Canadian director.
Okay.
It's called Match, and it's an incredible script. Like, I read the script and I was instantly excited to be like, yes, I want to be a part of this. So leading my first horror movie, being final girl, like that has been a dream because I'm such a horror fan. But it's such a twisted kind of like dark Beauty and the Beast. That's how she posed it. And I really love that. It's about love.
Mm-hmm.
But the lengths that we go for it and how we tend to kind of betray ourselves and the really dangerous places we might find ourselves in. But yeah, we filmed it in Cape Town in South Africa. I was there for a couple months. Life-changing. That was definitely the biggest, most like, I was really far. I was like 16 hours on a plane far from home, and I loved it so much. Like, my castmates, just the vibe. Every time we were in base camp, there's a freaking mountain in the background. We got to go to the beach all the time. But yeah, it was probably some of my favorite work that I've done and the most challenging role I've ever done.
Well, that's a perfect segue, as you mentioned, beach and everything. I mean, us specifically too, like we're very like passionate and energetic about what we do, and it's hard for us sometimes to turn it off, right? Like the creative kind of component.
It doesn't turn off.
It doesn't turn off at all.
There's no off switch.
There's no off switch. But sometimes like you gotta like call the operator for the off switch, right? Like sometimes you really have to.
Can
right?
we chill for a moment, please? Please release the grip. Yeah.
But like I find it interesting, right? Because so like when like I mean, going for a walk with Oreo, right? Mm-hmm. But like you're trying to get away, but you might be thinking about a script or something. You know what I mean? Like I have that problem all the time. And when I'm like working on Pop Turnip and talk to you about this all the time, it feels like I'm playing a video game.
Oh, cool.
So, but it's not. So it's not work, but it is work.
Yeah.
But it's not because it's fun.
I mean, yeah, I never feel like I'm actually working because I'm just literally enjoying every single moment.
I know.
The only times that I might feel it is when it's like 4 a.m. and you're exhausted and it's like hour 17 and you're like, I don't know what day it is and I don't know how I'm going to do this scene. But then the second they yell action, you just turn on. There's something that happens that, for me, it's a muscle now. It's something that I've exercised for years. Yeah. But you just kind of show up.
You are Venezuelan.
Yes.
I would.
Sí.
Bueno.
Bien.
Bien. I'm doing Duolingo and I think I'm getting better.
Let's go.
But no, I can't do a conversation.
¿Habla español entonces? Like what? Dime.
Oh my God. Bienvenido a la entrevista, even though we're half an hour in.
Whoa, that's really good. Gracias. Muy bien. That's really good.
Our guy Dean just slapped at me. But
you could talk to Oreo. You could give him.
That was the best because it was like literally like welcome to the interview.
40 minutes in. We can just copy that into the beginning of it. Stitch it, Frankenstein it. Yeah.
Can you speak or give a shout out or praise to the importance and the amazing, Latin American kind of content that we are seeing? You know what I mean? It is so important. Netflix is doing an amazing job with that too. You just talk about that a little bit because that's so important to you. That's so important to me as a global outlet. I would love you to talk about that a little bit.
There's so much inclusivity now, even in the 10 years that I've been in it. The last 5 specifically there's been such a rise of diversity. I mean, even looking at the Waterfront, the main core family, they're all white and we're in North Carolina. I'm so happy that Jenna is Latina and she gets to be a part of being there. Crazy enough, there are a lot of Latinos there. There was a Latin festival I went to and there were so many Latinos that came out. My stand-in, Julia, she's also Latina from North Carolina. So it was I remember coming up to me and she was like, I feel so seen and represented by the fact that there's someone like you who is literally me in this show, and we get to see that on screen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, that means a lot. I've gotten a lot of messages online, and people are just so excited to see me kind of break frontiers and open doors, and leaving the door open for people to join in that storytelling, because it's so cool that it isn't specifically about her being Latina. She's just a human.
Absolutely.
But I happen to be. And I think that's really cool because it doesn't necessarily put me in a box that I can only play Latin roles, but there's always going to be a conversation about it.
Absolutely. And also, just to add, like, the Spanish language content that's being made right now is so good.
So fun.
And there's a lot of, Spanish language horror movies I've watched recently.
They're incredible, right?
So
that's what I grew up on. I mean, there's talent everywhere. It kind of shows you that, it can't be localized to one continent because...
You saw Veronica, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That's the one that's shot, like, continuously?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's so many good ones.
It would be a dream. Like, I want to act in Spanish. I want to do that more and infiltrate into Netflix Latino America. Wink, wink. It would be amazing to dive into more Spanish work. For
Absolutely.
Sure.
I want to watch Olimpo so badly, from the creators of Elite. That just dropped as well.
So good.
Agustin de la Corte from The Side of Snow, La Sociedad de la Nieve is in it.
Yep.
And I want to see that show so badly. It's just a time thing. Do you have time? I mean, you make the time, but you make the time. You make the...
Now I have time. I actually, I'm in a bit of a summer break, which is so rare. I don't remember the last time because last summer I was until the phone rings. I mean, listen, I want the phone to ring always.
Yeah.
But I also think that it'll be in the fall. I'm thinking September. I think July and August will be months where I get to actually chill and watch things. And but no, sometimes I get spurs of I'm gonna watch this, and then I lose sleep for a night and binge a show in one night. But no, it's difficult at times. Yeah.
I feel like the measurement of how big something is or a world is looking at all the different types of content that can happen in the world of Star Wars, for example. So the fact that we were talking about the fact that everything you have done in the Star Wars world has been for a video game.
Yeah.
And not the movies and not the TV shows. The scale of that is just what's bigger than that world?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Star Wars is, in my mind, the biggest franchise. That's everybody knows it.
Yeah.
What else? Avatar, but that came later. It's not the same.
Harry Potter, Lord
of the Rings. But still, that was like later in life. Star Wars has...
For me, when I was growing up, like Power Rangers was
Power Rangers?
These like, yeah.
They didn't continue, right? It's like they're not like kind of making more content within that.
They were for a while. I feel like there was always all these like Power Rangers, Dino Force. There was all these different ones, but yeah, no, for sure. Star Wars is just like...
I'm like, that's the biggest one.
There was all like, but it's also like the Disney Plus, like all the shows too.
It's the fact that they keep making content within that world, and it's amazing that there's always going to be space for it.
What did you learn about... Okay, so this is a two-part question. Because that press tour was big.
Yeah.
Like you did a lot of things in that world.
Yeah.
What did you kind of learn about the fan base from that press tour specifically?
They're very excited to meet the people behind, especially in video games, the people behind the boys. They love to cosplay. I met a couple K-Vesses out in the wild.
I feel like
There's this childlike play. I think anything Star Wars, I'm like, they're just jumping right in, and they just want to be like, how was it? What does it feel like?
Yep.
And they try to put themselves in my shoes all the time. And I think it's really cool how this franchise has always unified people.
Yep.
There's always going to be this like really intense, like, yes, we love this, no, we hate this. It's very polarizing with any franchise. But I think for the most part, it's like people are just curious, playful, and open to just seeing what part of the world they can see themselves in. Like with K-Vess being a part of the original trilogy, it allowed people to kind of revisit the, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, that world, the fact that it's like open world. They were just very excited because it reminded them of where it all started. Okay. And that's really cool.
You worked in Star Wars. You worked in Star Trek.
Yes.
Star Wars. Star Trek. Humberly was in Star Wars world, or was in Star Trek world. I don't even know what to say.
I know.
I'm so happy for you. I'm proud of you.
It's insane.
But I don't know if I would ever have that on my bingo card to be able to say that I have a friend that's been in both those worlds.
And apparently...
But they're big worlds. That's the thing. There's opportunities to be in both those worlds because there's a lot, right? There's spin-offs.
They are different.
Yeah.
You know? They are different. And the fandoms are different. And they each offer... I mean, they each have an amazing fandom. It's like all... But it is wild that I was simultaneously working on both.
Yeah.
And Jim Cummings told me that I'm probably the only actor who's done both in a significant role. He doesn't know of... And I'm like, I trust him.
Because I knew about the Star Wars thing, and then I found out about Star Trek, and I did like a double take. I'm like, this is...
What do you mean?
Like, what? Like, how?
I know. Yeah.
Humberly. Just like...
It's me. I don't know. I can just do it all. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Waterfront's out right now. Ginny and Georgia's out right now.
Yes.
We've been talking for... This is like the longest one we've ever done. Probably edit this out. We're probably we've done about 45? 35. Yeah, we'll do a bit more. I feel like there's also kind of like a lot to say about the fact that like we have all this content like available to us, but now all like the clips, like I feel like we're in like a clip world now, right?
It's because of the attention span. Everything is so fast and we're like scrolling through. I want to bring back, you know, the slowness of taking in content and actually listening.
Yep.
It's hard though. We live in a really, really fast world. Everything, it's like if something takes longer than 5 seconds to load, people are like, nah, I don't want it.
Have you done an audiobook yet?
Yes.
You have, right?
Well, I did the series with Joshua Jackson.
Yes.
Oracle.
Yeah.
The Dreamland Murder.
Yes.
Yeah,
You also did Slumberland.
Slumberland.
Netflix.
Yeah.
The Humberly González Netflix connection is...
You know, we're like besties at this point. I had my first like Netflix post of like we saw her in Ginny and Georgia and then now in the Waterfront.
I saw that.
That was a milestone for me because I always saw those of like I've done a lot of Netflix stuff, but these are 2 very significant shows. And now I have 2 Netflix shows in the top 10, which is insane. And it's really beautiful. And so I was like, I wonder if they're going to do the little like, she's grown up. Look at where we saw her. We're seeing double type thing. And then it happened. And I was like, oh, that's it.
Do you also think about the fact, too, that it's like you have been part of like worlds that like continue on? Like you were in Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody 2 is coming out.
I know. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
People wondered if I was going to be back, but I'm like, no, I guess she could have been in a way because she's just in her life and her child.
My friend Megan Best is in the first one, too. She's the girl on the bus.
Oh, cool. Yeah. But it's like, that was such a cool project. That was one of my first like big, like small roles in a bigger studio picture. We shot that in Winnipeg. Bob Odenkirk was incredible. I learned a lot from him on that set.
Absolutely. That was such a sad storyline.
I know.
Because it's like you're supposed to like you come off like you're robbing, you're like the bad guys, and it's like you're not.
It's just you know, it's what the measures you go to provide for your family. Yep. I think desperation leads you to. It's like that's why morality of like is she a bad person, a good person? I'm like, you can't actually label it as good or bad because it's situational.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You want to one day like produce, direct, right? We talk about it all the time. Yeah. When do you think you're really going to start kind of like to put the foot on the gas with that stuff? Because it's like you said, you're always waiting for that phone call.
Honestly, I could start this year.
Yeah.
I know that there's so many connections and available. Like there's people who want to help me do it. And there's so many tools out there. It's about me making the choice. Like I'm going to do this and write this.
Yeah.
I want to collaborate with my friends. Yeah. I have so many talented humans around me that I'm like, there is so much space for us to do X, Y, Z. And having these relationships with the content that I've been on, I'm like, I just have to do it. It'll happen. I think within this year or 2, like, I think I'm really like opening up to that because I've had a lot of people encourage me into it. And I need to just do it. Like, what am I waiting for?
Is it like when you book something, like you book Waterfront, you were there for quite some time. Mm-hmm. You booked Match, you were there for quite some time. That is kind of your life. That is what it is. Is that like hard to balance the fact that it's like you obviously have to be like, you know, not like your life is Waterfront, but it's like you also have like other things going on. You know what I mean? Like, was that hard balance?
Yeah, I think.
Because being on set, like I learned that. I was on 5 days of Sawtooth Mountain in the woods.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have no time for anything else.
I know. Your life becomes that. So I
Yeah.
feel like I live little lives all throughout, and that is my normal. For me, that is the normal. There is no normal as you would, like if someone has a 9-to-5 job and they have a family and they go home every night and they get to do dinner and then they have the weekends. My days kind of blur together. Like it just, it becomes exactly where I'm at. And I think the hardest part is just the fact that you miss people a lot. You know, when I'm away, I was away for 5 months in North Carolina and I missed birthdays and important like get-togethers, and I miss my friends and my family's away, and you know, you have to balance like what your relationships look like.
Yeah, but you know, it's going to be interesting how I say this, but we talked about this before. I hope you get to miss a lot of those things because I want you to go work on things. You know what I mean? Like,
because you want both. I do
yes.
want both. I'm like,
you want both, but I thought for like you all of a sudden if we had something like going on or we had plans or something, you're like, hey, like I'm literally on a plane. Oh my God, Oreo is going to make.
This part is if I have to go on a job and I have to leave my guy behind.
I know.
I had to leave him when I went to South Africa, so he had a staycation with Bepsabe. But when I was in North Carolina, I did bring him. That was the longest period of bringing Oreo. But it's more like I'm a dog mom. What do I do?
I know, but you know what I mean though, right? Like but you know, you understand what I'm saying though, right? Yeah. Like when last minute you messaged me and like, oh, I'm gonna be away for like 3 months.
Yeah, literally.
And maybe, but maybe like you had like we had some projects in the works or we had plans in the works. I like that. Like that makes me happy because I know how much work it takes to like get
to land that.
Yes.
Yeah. There's always a sacrifice in everything, right?
Do you think it has to also have to do with like understanding what we do? Because like there has to be a certain level of like understanding how it works, how it operates. Where it's like you might not know until like 3 days they're gonna be gone for 3 months.
Yeah. At any point, I know that my life could change. Making plans is like kind of futile sometimes because you're like, well, I know that this could change, but it doesn't stop me from still daydreaming or planning about a trip or something that I want to do in my personal time, because literally tomorrow I could get a call and be like, hey, Humberly, there's this project that shoots for a month and it's all of July, and then I'm gone. And then I come back. But, you know, you have to have people around you who understand the nomadic lifestyle. I hate sometimes coming off as a flaky friend. I've had to balance how I stay in touch with the people who really matter in my life, and you hope that the people in your life also understand and they check in on you.
Yes,
that's it.
That's absolutely well said.
Because it is hard to explain sometimes, especially if not all of my peers or my friends are at the level that I'm at.
Yeah,
there's sometimes this feeling of isolation for sure.
You have the ability to be able to plan a little bit, especially with your BAFTAs. Like you did know that it was going to get crazy with that schedule and everything.
So
and the press.
Like, hey, by the way, these 5 days are.
But I remember with Waterfront, that was quick. Like I remember I think I messaged you that I was coming to town or something.
Yeah.
And then we were like,
I just literally booked this trip and I'm gone the rest of the year. It was insane. Yeah.
Insane.
I left in September and I came back mid-January.
But it's good insane. It's good. I love it.
Beautiful.
It's great. I'm so happy for you.
Also, when it's season 2, I told my friends, I'm like, okay, now y'all come visit. Like, come see me. And my agents will come see me. And it's like, people make the effort to meet you where you're at. And it also allows for them to kind of come and enjoy the adventure as well. You know, like
absolutely.
Whenever I go away for 2 months, it's such an experience. It's an opportunity for any of my friends to be like, I can just buy my ticket and it's a free stay to go hang out with you, go see a new place. And I hope that happens more often. And that's how I keep up with my relationships, that it's always an open invitation of like, this is just the life. We don't know where we're going to be at any given point, but I know that I'm never going to be fixed anywhere. No, not really. Not until like something changes drastically, like if I become a mom or something like different.
Well, I think that, and I think the next time we'll chat will be about match. And I think it's going to be, so this is your 7th time on the show. I think it's going to be, we haven't had you talk the Betsabe yet for Pop Turner en Español. So I think we got to do, and in Español. So I think we have to do that one soon.
Yeah.
So maybe we could do 2 in a week.
That would
be have 9. I think you're like going to be like the most, like the guest that's been on the most, to be honest with you.
That's kind of cool though.
Gotta look at the leaderboard.
You've seen me grow up with Pop Turnative.
I know. It's been.
I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I know. Winding down here. Plugs. I mean, go watch Waterfront.
Watch Waterfront. and watch it on different accounts.
We didn't talk about tarot a lot. You know, I have a lot of things I need to say about that.
Watch Ginny and Georgia. Watch. I don't know. Just, you know, there's a lot of really beautiful content out there. I'm so grateful to have had the career I've had. It's been so versatile. There's a little bit for everybody. And I'm excited to see what comes in the future. I can't wait to see where we are a year from today. Let's check in. Whatever date it is today, and when this comes out, we're going to be like, oh, it's been a year. What have you done since? Wow.
Absolutely. Humberly on social media.
At Humberly on Instagram.
You have that hat. What's your hat? It's just Humberly.
Just Humberly.
You know what? Elephant in the room. The first time I ever did the interview with you for Utopia Falls, I pronounced the H. And like,
There's a rite of passage here when my friend or not. If you still pronounce the H, you don't know me.
But I think that was, I think we just set up the interview and I just said Humberly.
Yeah.
And then it's Humberly.
It's always Humberly.
Yeah, for sure.
Silent.
And then, last quick thing too. Are there any updates about, I mean, Star Wars Outlaws, like it's out there, right? Like, yeah.
It's out there. All of the added content is out as well.
DLCs,
People are enjoying it. Full disclosure, I still haven't played the whole game throughout. One, because I don't have a TV and I just moved into a new place. B, I'm super busy and playing a video game is like a whole thing. But I hope that this winter is when I'll play it from top to bottom. And I'm so excited to dive into that. And it'll be a resurface. I'll turn to fans and be like, guys, how do I get out of here? Because I'm, yeah.
Congratulations on all the success. Congratulations on everything to come. And so good to chat with you. And this was like the first like in-person like Popternative like interview like podcast.
It's so fun.
Which is amazing. I'm going to look in the barrel and do a little plug. So youtube.com/Popternative has all of our interviews, and we have exclusive clips from shows from Apple TV Plus, MGM Plus, and Prime Video as well. The digital magazine is officially launched. So Popternative magazine is available on popternative.com/Popternative magazine. You can follow us on Instagram as well. And we are also making films. We have a lot of films coming out. So make sure to check out, make sure to check out Popternative Pictures on Instagram. And you could check out all of that as well. But Humberly, good to see you again. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.